I'm the creator and the chief Imagineer of both Sweet Raw Joy and Mystic Chocolate, and they're desserts to live for. They are made with whole food ingredients, so there's no GMOs, there's no preservatives, there's no stabilizers, it's just pure ingredients. And Sweet Raw Joy are cheesecakes, brownies, cookies, that kind of thing. And then Mystic Chocolate is something brand new, and it's raw vegan stone ground chocolate, but it is also flavored to assist with balancing the chakra system.
Laurie Moritz is the entrepreneur behind both Sweet Raw Joy and Mystic Chocolate. The path to starting these businesses began in the early 2000s when Laurie started to invest seriously into her health.
I didn't like running back then, but I learned to love it. And the more I got into it, the more I wanted to be better at it. And so I'm on the treadmill at the gym going, okay, I need a reason to do this, you know. And I was reading More magazine, and they were having a More marathon for women only over 40. And I just happened to be over 40. And I thought, well, this could be a way to run in New York City, maybe not in the marathon, but certainly to go to New York City. And I hadn't been there yet. I was accepted, and that's when my marathon running career started. I trained for that, I ran it, I had a great time, and somewhere along the line, I had kind of heard about raw food, but when I got back into my regular life, I'm like, okay, how am I gonna continue to kind of eat these wonderful foods, specifically desserts, and not have to run a marathon all the time? So I got on the internet and found raw food, and I'd never heard of it. Basically, it's whole food ingredients like nuts and seeds, fruits and vegetables, and there are like 20-something different categories of fruits and vegetables, just so you know, you never really get bored, that are created without heat under, it depends on who you talk to, but about 115, 118 is the top end, so that all the nutritional value is still in the food. So that's the goal, is getting all that nutritional value.
In addition to running and healthy eating, Laurie became interested in many other areas of wellness.
You know, with running, I didn't want to injure myself, so I did the Jeff Galloway's method, which is the run-walk method, and I actually did my full marathon doing that, where you run for 4 minutes and you walk for 1 minute. With that comes really taking care of myself on every level, and I learned about energy medicine and about subtle energy fields and about yoga and meditation, and it all kind of mushroomed together. It's kind of hard to even separate them even now. And so one of the things I'd heard about was reconnective healing, and it didn't take a lot of training, and anyone can actually do it, which really appealed to me.
These changes were greatly improving her personal life, though she still longed to achieve more in her professional career.
I was an administrative assistant at various places for 20-something years, and it got to a point where I was like, you know, I really don't want to be doing this forever. And I was over 40, so I was just kind of looking at the big picture and went to a Get Motivated seminar. And so that's kind of what got me started into looking out there and saying, this is not what I want to do for another 20 years. What do I want to do?
Laurie decided to pursue her newfound passions for physical and spiritual wellness. Along with her husband Richard, she started her first 2 small businesses. One focused on running coaching, and the other on reconnective healing.
I went to a seminar in Sedona with my husband. He learned it too, and decided to make it a business, because I love the idea of helping people and having it be an alternative to taking pills or whatever. Along with that came running spirit coaching. And as my own spirituality grew, I wanted to share what I knew about running and about that part of myself as well. And so Reconnective Healing, which was called Reconnect to Balance, and Running Spirit Coaching kind of happened at the same time. It happened where I was doing the healing part as I was learning how to be a coach with an online course.
Both companies were built on marketable ideas with paying customers, but both businesses ultimately failed. Laurie had a difficult time growing and sustaining the businesses, an outcome due to poor marketing.
Well, I learned that marketing's everything, and it's really the way to help people understand what your business is and that you're there. You know, it's kind of one of those things, you build a website and you think if you build it, they will come, but if they don't know about it, they don't know where to go. After those two businesses kind of put them to bed, so to speak, I just jumped back into the administrative field for about 3 years, really trying to decide what's next for me. And the marketing piece, I really came to terms with it and realized that when I do decide to start another business, it's a piece that I'm going to know more about.
Although Laurie returned to working as an administrative assistant, she still desired to be an entrepreneur. Over a lunch break, Laurie went to a new Pioneer Co-op grocery store in Coralville, where she spotted an item for sale that sparked an idea.
In the Coralville store, they were selling a raw cheesecake from California. And it just hit me that, my gosh, if there's people buying this dessert from California, that means that Iowa is ready for raw food. And so I decided to launch Sweet Raw Joy.
Laurie began experimenting with raw desserts and shared them with coworkers for feedback. Along with her husband Richard, Laurie began her third entrepreneurial venture.
A lot of our initial attempts at business actually started off as part-time businesses where we're both working full-time jobs, and it was only when she started wanting to do the desserts that I knew it wasn't going to be a part-time gig.
After perfecting recipes for multiple products, Laurie sought resources and advice in order to help ensure the success of Sweet Raw Joy.
I also got a hold of the Small Business Development Center, which I didn't in my first two businesses, which I can't believe I didn't, because I guess I didn't know it existed or what it could do for me. And so when I brought in my idea for Sweet Raw Joy and samples, and we just started building what I needed to make it happen. One of the first things we decided was we need to find out how much should we sell it for. And Cedar Rapids has a great farmer's market, and so we decided to start with that. And then I heard about New Bow City Market. For that first summer, every Saturday for 10 hours, we were there offering samples, getting feedback, and we just decided on a price based on the profit margin, what's going to be charging enough so that I can sustain the business, which a lot of entrepreneurs make that mistake, especially where food is involved, where they don't price it high enough because everything goes into that pie, everything, the packaging, the labeling, the licensing, the renting, the flyers, the business cards, everything in your business relies on that product. So you have to price it accordingly. And having it at the farmer's market that first few months was really invaluable.
Sweet Raw Joy was well marketed and building a customer base. However, Laurie soon ran into a major hurdle. The cost of renting a commercial kitchen was keeping Sweet Raw Joy from being sustainable.
Something entrepreneurs will learn about is pivoting your business. Basically, it means you're changing your course with your business. And what was happening with Sweet Raw Joy is I wasn't able to sustain the business with that upfront overhead of the rent. And so my biggest customer was the new Pioneer Co-ops. So when that decision came to possibly stop doing Sweet Raw Joy, I approached the co-op to see if I could actually create a raw dessert and raw food business for them in-house. So I talked to Craig Albright, the operations manager, and he said that the easiest way to do this would be, how about you keep Sweet Raw Joy? You keep your recipes, it's your business, and you just do it in our kitchen for a percentage of the sales. And that was like a dream come true. So I could still create Sweet Raw Joy, it was still mine, but they were only taking a percentage. So instead of paying a rent up front, they were taking a lot less than I was paying for the rent.
The nice thing about how the business is structured is she was able to grow organically, and we weren't in the position where we needed to require a lot of capital. And it's been a huge help the way she has it structured with the New Pioneer Co-op. If had we needed to do a kitchen and pay rent and all that sort of thing, it'd be a whole different story.
Sweet Raw Joy was successful, but was limited to sale at the New Pioneer Co-ops due to her contract and the short shelf life of her products. Pivoting again, Laurie created her fourth business, Mystic Chocolate, with an easily shippable product sold primarily through the internet.
I wanted to start another business that would allow me to grow and to expand, and Mystic Chocolate is that business. So I created at a different kitchen, and I can sell it on the internet, I can sell it locally, regionally, nationally, and I'm doing it even internationally now.
When you are working with a food product, your whole existence revolves around repeat customers. People want to like it enough to come back and buy it again and have it again and actually gift it out. The nice thing about the online business is it lets us explore that on a wider audience. Raw tempered chocolate is sort of it's a narrow niche, and there's people out there making chocolate all over the place, and it's wonderful chocolate. This is just another exploration of that, and it actually serves a market that we feel hasn't been served so far.
With each new business, Laurie learned the importance of adapting and pivoting when faced with challenges. At its core, her journey has always been about finding and creating joy while embracing a healthy lifestyle. And through her businesses, she's able to share that joy and positive message with others.
When I first started making Sweet Raw Joy, and I was sampling it at New City Market, I had a couple of ladies come up to me when they tasted my dessert and what it was made out of, and they had tears in their eyes, and they're like, "Oh my God, I am so amazed that I can actually eat this kind of food again." Because for whatever reason, health-wise, they couldn't. It just blew my mind that people could be so excited and that it could make that kind of an impact. And it still does. So that's pretty cool.
It's not easy to be a college wrestler. In fact, when my son didn't become a college wrestler, that was okay with me. The dedication of not eating and the hard work and the things that you have to do to be a successful wrestler, lots of fun. But if I would have been a college golfer, I'd still be golfing today. And I don't wrestle anybody anymore. When you're with a bunch of people that are committed and dedicated with the same goals to try and accomplish something that had never been done before at UNI. We had so much success and so much fun at UNI, and it wasn't easy. It was a lot of work, but people love winners, and so you start that momentum going, and we had a lot of fun.
Dan Keller, president and owner of RCS Millwork in Ankeny, was one of the best college wrestlers in the country. In 1975, he was an integral member of the University of Northern Iowa program that claimed the NCAA Division II championship. Dan and his teammates are now enshrined in the UNI Athletics Hall of Fame for their accomplishments on the wrestling mat. Dan graduated from UNI and wanted to share his knowledge and experiences with others. So he became a high school wrestling coach and woodworking teacher.
Hadn't really done much woodworking, but I loved doing small projects when I was at home. And so I went into education and did teaching and loved my years of teaching and coaching. But it's difficult to raise a family on one income, and I knew that I wanted to be able to try and grab more of the opportunities that were out there. And so the years I had of teaching were fantastic, and I loved it. And we did some amazing things with lots of kids that I'll even run into today that will remind me that they were in my woodworking class as a 9th grade Urbandale kid.
Dan left his job as a teacher to follow his passion for woodworking. He landed a full-time job and was quickly promoted to president of the company, as he was able to grow the business from 15 employees to 70 in just 3 years.
They gave me a lot of opportunity to run this business that was not a primary business for them. And so as a guy running that business, it was almost like education for me. And the things that I learned on how to be successful in business, I learned from being this employee who actually became a partner, who then was given this responsibility without really a lot of the risk that it took.
Dan saw potential to venture out on his own and follow his entrepreneurial spirit. He quit his job and went to work building RCS Millwork into a successful business.
When I left there, now I had all the risk, and with that risk obviously comes rewards, but there's a lot of risk involved. So the transition was really just going from that education of being that partner to off on my own with my own smaller company, and then just trying to figure out if we could work hard and grow that business.
Dan started with 4 employees and his wife, as his team manufactured custom millwork products for commercial and residential construction. Just like at his previous job, Dan relied on his competitive nature and past experiences to grow the business. He was once again a head coach, and his employees were his team, and together, they were going to build a company and find success.
The drive to compete and wrestling, I just wanted to win, and I loved the competition. As I started in business, it's just competition. It's competing with the other guys, trying to do a product that is better than the other guys, trying to do a product that will satisfy the end user such that they want to buy another project from us.
At the turn of the century, business was going very well for RCS Millwork. Dan added an office in Kansas City and purchased land to create a much bigger production facility in Ankeny.
We broke ground in August of 2001 and had new machinery ordered, and obviously a nice building ordered, and of course September 11th happened. So we had contracts that were canceled and contracts that were delayed, and we have just tripled our overhead size. A lot of people that used to be around the country doing what we do went out of business because they couldn't get through that. That was probably our biggest, most stressful time of being in business, is getting through that time frame.
Dan was forced to lay off employees and tap into his personal savings to keep the business alive.
There's never an option to quit. As we are conservative people, you save for a rainy day, and sometimes that rainy day comes and you need to, use all your resources. And I'm not sure how many times we've refinanced our home or put it on the line again and then worked our way back out of that, but it's been several times. quitting isn't an option. We're in this for the long haul, and for as many employees as want to help us to do that, then we're committed to being successful in employing them and bringing them along as providing opportunities for their families too.
Dan battled through the Great Recession of 2009 and over the past decade grew RCS Millwork to over 100 employees in his Ankeny and Kansas City locations. He brought some of his children on to work in the family business and added several partners to diversify and expand into new markets. Dan realized with growth and success comes a different type of challenge.
We can't run the company the same way we ran a 6 or a 10 or a 20 person company. We have to do things differently. And so a large part of my focus now is not working in the business, but working on the business, trying to transition that business so that we are a better business today than we were yesterday, and we'll be better tomorrow with the things that we're changing. That investment that isn't necessarily going to be for my benefit, but it is for my family, for my children, for my friends who work here, and for some of their children. We've got a couple of different generations of families here, so it's what we think is probably some of that good Iowa value, and knowing that none of us can win alone, and so we're making intentional effort to think of the long term, the bigger picture, and make decisions that are right for the long term of the business. It's about working hard, and it's easy to say the cliche, well, we need to work smart also, and you think you're doing that, but when you're putting fires out, you don't have a lot of time to think about working smart. You're just working on getting that fire out before the next fire comes. And so our focus for the last year has been to try and figure out how to change that. And we're making big steps in doing that. Are we where we want to be yet? Nope. And it's going to be a process that I hope we never really finish. But we're a better company today than we were a year ago, and we will be better tomorrow.
It's been several decades since Dan Keller helped you and I win a wrestling national championship. He wasn't quite sure what he wanted to do with his life after graduation, but he took those valuable lessons of being a college student athlete and applied it to his entrepreneurial spirit.
If you love what you're doing and have passion for what you're doing, it's not work. It's awesome. And so life is too short. All of a sudden I've been at it for a lot of years, and it goes quickly. So try to enjoy what you're doing and go for it.